In cities around the world, there have been major clashes between various Occupy protesters and the police. Egypt has seen sporadic fighting since January. In the U.S., in apparent coordination with Homeland Security, police have staged violent midnight raids on occupants, sometimes resulting in bloody clashes. Oakland, California police win the coveted Tiananmen Square Award for shooting peaceful war veteran Scott Olson in the head with a tear gas canister. Then there's Chicago, wherein, as time has passed, the Chicago police have had better and better relations with the occupation. Chicago protesters learned back in the 60s that unlike civilians, the police have weapons, and that if the police do not like us, they can use them with abandon. In 1968, Chicagoans learned that chanting "the whole world is watching" just means they can see your butt get beaten in Moscow. Consequently, our occupation for its first 2 months has obeyed most of the city's laws. Occupants offered food to the police and generally behaved as if members of the Chicago Police Union are also part of the 99%. Occupy Chicago also had a young and attractive liaison to the police so that the cops might literally look kindly upon the occupation. Then came 17 November, the day of international action and its aftermath. In New York, protesters were bloodied. In California, cops pepper-sprayed passive resistors like mosquitoes. And while in many U.S. cities, police arrived ready to confront protesters carrying gas grenades and wearing riot gear, Occupy Chicago's biggest march yet had a police escort. And yes, there were protesters hauled away by the cops, but none of this chemical weapons, knee on the throat, twisting people's arms nonsense. In Chicago's protest, a unionized officer would politely walk over to a pre-designated police-friendly lawbreaker. The calm and courteous officer would explain what was going to happen. The designated lawbreaker assented, and it happened. In New York, protesters were charged with felonies. In Chicago, 30 people were ticketed for failure to take proper pedestrian precautions when they sat down in the middle of the bridge. Then they moved on to the next part of the march. The police liked and had so much confidence in the protesters' ability to manage themselves that much of the escort force was on bicycles. Now, I'm not saying that all the Occupy movements should be like Chicago and befriend the police with guns without whose support you cannot even be on the streets. But I am saying that when they tell the stories of all the Occupy movements in 1,500 cities and 82 countries on 7 continents, let there be no doubt that Chicago has the occupation that works.